Opening. Three pictures appear. One is of a woman giving a presentation behind a podium. Another photograph depicts two people engaged in a conversation. The other photograph is of a man explaining something to another man. The title reads Access Ed Project 2008 2-Day Symposium. Title transition to the next sequence of text. Access Ed Conference on Universal Design in Higher Education and Beyond. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, September 25th and 26th, 2008. Keynote speaker, Cheryl Bergstaller. Plenary, Universality of Captioning, Virginia Shivarino. Video fades to black. Universal Design of Physical Spaces, Cheryl Bergstaller. Dr. Bergstaller standing behind a podium talking to the audience.
Okay, so if we look at universal design of physical spaces, what would we look at? And the separate handout that I gave you has some examples, so again, you don't have to write any this down. But we could look at planning, policies, evaluation, the appearance, entrances, routes of travel, fixtures, information resources, technology, safety, and how we might provide accommodations. So, in the planning, policies, and evaluation, just a couple things to think about, including people with diverse characteristics in the planning. That's pretty easy when you think about it, but rarely done. So invite some students with disabilities or someone with multiple disabilities, by the way, maybe someone who's in a wheelchair, someone who's blind, someone who's deaf, and give you feedback, give you suggestions in your planning process. And considering universal design in the procurement process, we are always harping at people on campus and the libraries or whatever to do that when they're buying materials, like they buy a database. And sometimes the librarian will say to me, but I know it's not accessible. And then I say, well, why don't you ask for the information about the accessibility features and put a sentence in the beginning telling that company that we consider accessibility when we buy our products at the university. We want to know how accessible this product is. And sometimes they do that and sometimes they don't. But sometimes people hesitate to do that because they know that there isn't an accessible product and they really need that one database. So that doesn't matter. But what you're doing by asking the questions is you're putting them on alert and letting that company know that we're thinking about accessibility whenever we buy things. And so maybe they want to think about that when they're creating things. Imagine for a minute if everyone at every institution, when they bought media, asked that question. How long would it take for those companies to create accessible products if people like the University of Washington and the University of Wisconsin, they would worry that they weren't going to buy those products anymore?
The R2D2 Center logo appears. Below reads, copy and distribute freely but use in its entirety and do not alter. Access Ed Project Copyright 2009, Rehabilitation, Research, Design, and Disability, R2D2 Center. Please visit us at access-ed.r2d2.uwm.edu. The Access Ed project is supported in part by the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Post-Secondary Education, PR Award number P33A050090. The Access Ed documents contained in this video are those of the grantee and do not necessarily reflect directly on the U.S. Department of Education.